Brother, welcome back. It's been a long time. Needed a bit of time to think. I've been creating YouTube videos for probably 4 or 5 years now. And you'd think by now I would have had a solid direction or niche. But through all of this time, I just couldn't figure it out. I just have so many different interests and fascinations. Sticking to a niche or topic felt like imprisonment to me. It felt like chains. And even when content did blow up on specific topics, like sexual polarity, I was just like, I don't want to make my entire channel about relationships and women, because life is a huge part of life is love, is intimate love, but it is so much bigger than that as well. So I've been struggling with this for years, and maybe it's no longer a struggle, but something I just have to come to terms with and accept and embrace, because I'm tired of holding myself back because I feel like, oh, this is not compatible with building an online brand. At the end of the day, I just want to build a brand where I can just be myself and share ideas and practices and philosophies and attitudes that have the potential to help somebody improve their life for the better. At the core of it, that's what I want. And I think I've been too attached to the growth of the channel that it's literally sabotaged me from just creating whatever the hell wants to be created out of me. So that was a long intro, but I want to get into today's video. The title of this video, why I'm preparing myself for a post-productive world. This is going to be a very personal philosophy for me. I don't view the world the way that I was conditioned and programmed to by the school system, by the default life path, the copycat life path. I've developed my own outlook on the world. And I think to some people, it will be, let's say, a very unique flavor. But in this video, I'm going to talk about why I left the default life path. And I left the default life path before I even began it, because I graduated from university and I was just like, fuck this. This is fucking retarded. Anyway, let's stick to the script here. The simple answer: I saw no future in it. I see no future in it. It's an outdated model with an outdated set of assumptions. Not to mention, why the fuck would I even want to live life that way? It's like literally that simple to me. At the time of this video, I'm 24. I think it's been a year and a half since I've graduated from university. All my friends, most of my friends now, who I've stayed in touch with, mainly from high school, they're all in 9-to-5s now. They're all miserable. And this is why I will not join them. I am not going to trade 5 of the 7 days of my week to be a chump change wage slave. It's retarded. Now you're going to notice a lot of passion, maybe even anger. A lot of spirit and fire is going to come out through me through this video. And it's because I genuinely, when you speak about something you genuinely believe in, the fire comes out. And I think passion, anger, and fire, they're all part of the same fire. They're part of the same fuel, the same energy. And on a side tangent, my whole life I was a people pleaser. I played small. I was scared to speak up. I was never angry because I was afraid of my own anger. I was afraid of my own fire. I was afraid of my own passion. And it wasn't until I unleashed myself Oh, funny enough, this is the year of the fire horse. It wasn't until I unleashed myself spiritually and just got fed up with being sick and tired that, like, I've never felt so alive. Anyway, side tangent. The goal is freedom. Not fame, not applause, not comparison, but freedom. Freedom of time, location, mind, money. I mean, money is just a byproduct of these things. The ultimate luxury is peace. I like this picture. Just a simple picture of a family having a picnic. I'm a family man. And I think the West is on its downfall because of the family values are in decline. Nobody wants to have kids anymore. Everybody's stressed out about career and making career the meaning of their life. But it's like, career, how can career be the meaning of your life? I don't know. I just don't understand it, you know. But you see, I'm passionate about so many things, I can't help but go on side tangents. And for a long time, I've been trying to fight it. Oh, you should focus on this niche. You should only talk about this. But I'm sick and tired of limiting myself because the goal is freedom. I should be able to talk about whatever the fuck I want to talk about. This is part of the creative freedom, the process that I've yearned for in my entire life, but only gave myself the permission to recently. And the more I fuck around, the more I find out. All right, let's continue. I have always been obsessed with one question all of my life. How do I design a life that maximizes the fuck out of freedom, happiness, wealth, and health? What could life look like if I stopped putting boundaries and limitations on it? Because so often you think we have to trade freedom for wealth or health for happiness, that wasn't the best example, but let's say we have to trade career for happiness. We have to trade freedom for career. We have to trade health for career. And to me, it's like, why would I live a life where I have to trade one thing for another? Why can't I? Who led me to believe that I cannot have my cake and eat it too? Who said that was contradictory? The more I became aware of the self-limiting beliefs that had been programmed into me subconsciously, the more I started to reject them and realize I have to create my own reality and my own thoughts and my own belief system and my own attitude and my own philosophy towards how I want to operate in life. My own operating system, my own software. My nose is runny, hold on. Interesting fact about my physiology is, for some reason, when I get really passionate and I speak about something I care about, my eyes get teary and my nose gets runny. I guess that you can call that passion. This is the realization I made, and it's that the path to true freedom, spiritually, psychologically, emotionally, physically, financially, locationally, timely, requires you to build an operating system of yourself that has no limitations on it, that has no confinements on it. Because you are the total creator of your life. And the more ownership you take over it in mind, in body, in relationship, in finance, in every aspect, the more free you become. Freedom is priceless. Happiness is priceless. Love is priceless. Peace is priceless. I do not trade these qualities for chump change. You realize money is not even real. And they convince you and they make you work so hard for it, while they sit back and make the real money from making you work for them. Your whole life. Think about it. You literally, if you have a mortgage, you're working 30 years for the bank. Right? Again, it's about perspective. Debt can either cripple you or it can be leverage. That's why they call it leverage, because it gives you a lever to pull on, a lever that you would otherwise not have. Now, granted, that lever comes with its own set of consequences, but what I'm trying to say is you have to learn to play this lever. Okay, we're going to get to this point. Overall, I'm just tired of this matrix and I refuse to be a slave. Once you see how deep this rabbit hole goes, you just can't. I can't bring myself to do it. You know, if you see what it is for what it is, how can you live the ignorant way that you thought was the happy little world that was the good life? It's simply just, you can't. Okay? So it's not about working harder. The janitor works harder than most people who make 10 times, 100 times more of their money. The construction worker works harder than people who make 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times more than them. And God fucking bless them, because it's because of these people that our society works. But what I feel sorry for is probably the fact that they don't recognize how they're being fucked. You know, it's always the little guy that gets fucked. They get fucked off of their ignorance. And so, this is what I'm talking about. Everything is a lever. It's not about working harder, it's about pulling a longer lever. If you work hard, but you're pulling on a lever, okay, let's say you work, the kg represents how hard you work, right? You work 100 kg hard, but look how short your fucking lever is. You have no leverage. And so, someone who's working at a 5 kg, let's say, effort level or hardness, they out-leverage you. They fuck you. They make you their bitch. Because they've built a lever, or they're standing on a lever, which is so much longer. Right? So the point is that leverage is freedom. And being a wage slave really has no leverage. You're trading away 2/3 of your life. You're renting out your life. Think about it. You are renting out 2/3 of your life for a little bit of chump change and the perception of, oh, security. All right, now we're going to go into the context of, I guess, how I came to these ideas. And spoiler alert, I grew up a pretty privileged kid. You know, my dad gave everything for the family. He is a true family man, and I definitely took on a lot of these values from him. And I find incredibly sad how little family values there are anymore in the modern West. Because it's like, if you don't have family, what the fuck do you actually have? People who have never had true family won't understand it, and people who have family know exactly what I'm talking about. Right? Okay. My dad, he never graduated high school, came from nothing. He grew up in communist China in a little farming village on the island on the south of China. But luck of the draw. He got the opportunity to move to Shenzhen at the age of, I think, 18 to look for opportunity. At that time, Shenzhen was absolutely nothing. Nothing. 40, 50 years later, to this day, it's one of the biggest cities in the world. One of the biggest and most technologically advanced cities in the world. So, he moved to Shenzhen at 18 to look for opportunity. He probably fucked around and fucked up and did whatever the fuck for however many years. Eventually, he founded a tennis turf company. You know, of all things. He has no idea how to play tennis. He literally just fucked around and found out. And for me, as someone who grew up like with being ingrained into me, oh, focus on school, oh, be book smart, oh, I realized that's not the way to success. The way to success is to fuck around and find out. Because the people who fuck around and find out are the people who hire the people who were too scared to fuck around and find out. Because they were so focused on studying. Alright. So, premise of the story. If it's possible for an uneducated farmer boy to go from a farming village in China to eventually moving his entire family to Canada, and, you have to be relatively pretty damn privileged to be able to do this. Because the majority of Chinese, they can't do that. They can't leave. They don't have the privilege to really leave the country for another one. Right? So basically, watching his life arc, it really expanded my perspective on what's possible out of life. Thank God I didn't grow up with a father who was chained to a 9-to-5. Thank God for that. Because that would have hugely shaped my mindset, and it would have taken a lot of overcoming to break out of that paradigm. Anyways, a little bit more about me. I'm an introvert. I'm an INFP. I grew up with a huge struggle with social anxiety, depression, lack of meaning, a porn addiction, and just overall deep unhappiness. I had everything set up for me, but I was deeply depressed because I was living a life that was fake. I was following a life that was inauthentic. I was following a life that was stable, but it left me dead inside. Thank God I, at a young age, was so unhappy that I realized I cannot live this way any longer. And I didn't even have to get my first job to realize it. I realized it before, in the middle of university. So, I got good grades in school, graduated in one of the best programs in the world for kinesiology, which is exercise science. And guess what? The school system tried to brainwash me with the whole radical leftist ideology. And honestly, it felt like I learned nothing from school. Despite it being one of the best programs in the world on paper, I realized everything that's fake is on paper. Your resume is on paper. What they say, ranked top number 3, number 2 program in the world. That is on paper. That your job title is on paper. If you live a life on paper for status and titles, you will never have a feeling like that's what I realized. It's all fake. It's so fake. Despite the fact that this is one of the best programs in the world on paper, I barely learned anything. I was so disappointed in my education that left me disillusioned with the entire system. That is what left me disillusioned with it. One, the school system tried to brainwash me with ideology rather than educate me to get me to think critically about things. And number 2, it felt like the education was so shallow that I genuinely learned nothing. And I ended up learning more from my 10 years of lifting on my own, as well as my years of personal training other people. And so I realized, university, it's kind of a scam. It's just a business like every other business. And they try to upsell you because the bachelor is meaningless now. So they try to upsell you into the master's and then the PhD. And that's how it is. I actually did get into a master's. I grinded super hard to get into it. But when the time came to actually do it, before the time came, I dropped out. That was it for me. Right? I grinded super hard with a relentless discipline, and then I dropped out of my master's. What did I do during that time of when I was supposed to be in my master's? I designed a home, and then I built it with my father. I can go into it in another video, but basically I graduated with my bachelor's in kinesiology and then had a master's lined up in management, right? But it was $30,000 for 6 months. And I was like, dude, this is literally just a crash course BCom disguised as a master's, and then they upsell you on it. It's bullshit, But times are different. The traditional life path, I just don't. I don't know why people are. Probably because it's the only way that they've been taught, and then the only way they knew. Because how else are you gonna make money, right? But Like, look at this chart. I'm not even going to speak about it. Just take a look, okay? Just as an illustration. Median household income. Median property price. Assets. This world is about assets. This world is about leverage, okay? Leverage. You're not going to work your way to freedom. You literally work yourself into enslavement, into deeper and deeper enslavement. Okay? Let's move on. I don't want to say that to sound like a victim. We're all victims to this thing called life. Life is a bitch. You have to learn to make life your bitch. Right? Learn to love life and make her your bitch. With love. Not power, not dominance, but with love. I say that because I'm not going to continue playing this game as a sheep. I'm not going to continue playing as a sheep in a game that fucks me over and then tells me to work harder. Refer to this chart. I'm going to create my own game and I'm going to make it work. I am not going to work a single day in my life. This is a mindset. It's an attitude. Okay? Because what defines work? Work defines something that you don't want to do in order to make money. Right? So let's put that in quotes. I will not work a single day in my life because I refuse to do anything I don't want to do. I'm not going to work for money. Money is going to work for me. Think like the masses, get the result of the masses. My philosophy has always been go the opposite direction of what the majority of people are doing. And I like to use an example. I like to drive on the opposite direction of where the traffic is going. So for example, when in the 9 to 5 rush hour in the mornings, I live in Vancouver. The traffic gets blocked because it tries to go north. During that time, it's the perfect time to go south. Now, when people get off work, it's the flip side. The traffic gets jammed going south. The traffic is relatively free-flowing going north. So the philosophy is either you avoid driving during rush hour, aka when people have to go to work and get off from work, or you drive in the opposite direction of what people are driving. Because if you follow the herd, you will get the results of the herd. Black sheep, white sheep. So, I titled this video, Why I'm Preparing Myself for a Post-Productive World. So what is this whole idea of post-productivity that I'm proposing? Well, it's simply a term that I coined to describe the future of the world where robots and AI will take over productivity, which will leave the majority of humans in an ambiguous and confused existential identity crisis. Because the question we kind of have to ask is, are AI and robots going to serve us? Or will we end up serving robots and AI? Right? Look at China's most recent Chinese New Year spectacle. The show they put on for Chinese New Year. If these robots become self-thinking, which to a degree they already are, how are you going to control them? Can you control a human who is self-thinking? No, that's why they don't want you to be self-thinking, so that they can control you. If a robot is self-thinking, how are you going to control the robot? Look what a robot can do when you put it in an embodied mechanical form. When you put it into a humanoid embodied mechanical form. Are we going to fight these robots? If a robot becomes autonomous, and it's funny that we want robots to be autonomous, but we're deathly afraid of when humans become autonomous. Why are we not afraid of robots becoming autonomous? That's what I don't understand. We don't want our own humans, our own people to become autonomous. Instead, we want robots to become autonomous. So what? So we can be slaves to the robots? Like, you see what I'm trying to say, right? I believe humanity is sick with a disease. And this disease is a spiritual one. I'm not going to elaborate too much on this disease. That's for a whole nother video. But post-productivity, what is it? It's taking complete ownership over your life. It's never working a day in your life. It's not waiting for when things are good enough, stable enough, when I make enough money, when I'm blah, 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 blah. It's living the life you want to live now. No more delaying. It's living from your purpose and what you want to create and bring into this world. Because if you don't do this, what are you going to do? You're going to compete with robots for productivity? Robots will replace everything we know about what it means to be productive. And if you've based your entire human being identity based upon how productive you are and what you provide in terms of productivity, then you will be replaced by the robot. Because as the robots are coming out, it's going to force us to reevaluate and reconsider what makes a human being. Right? There's a reason we're called a human being and not a human doing. There's something that a human being has that robots don't have. And that's the capacity to feel. Hear, the heart. The capacity to love. The capacity to feel and love and grieve and feel. That's what makes us human. The whole spectrum of emotion. A robot can't feel. We literally have trained a robot to be entirely this. The Western mind's disease is that it is completely identified with the mind. We are so identified with the mind that we have lost connection to the heart. But you realize the robot is entirely mind. And if you as a human, you're entirely mind, you're no different than a robot and you will be replaced by a robot. You realize that what makes a human is a heart. And the heart and the mind work together. And we need to reintegrate these things. This is what the Chinese knew. It's called Xing. You translate it into heart-mind. Heart-mind. In Chinese, psychology is called 心理学. It means the study of the heart-mind. Right? But in the Western thought, psychology is purely mind. The Chinese always knew Xing. It both refers to both the mind and the heart. And these things need to work in unity because they are yin and yang. They are feminine and masculine. See, I'm not even going to type properly because I just need you to understand this point that I'm saying. This is very profound stuff. And I don't think people understand how profound this is. In the West, we're so dissociated with, let's call it the feminine. We're so over-identified with the masculine, with the mind, right? Heart is warm, intuitive. Mind is cold, calculating, rational, feeling. We have a disease of over-identification with the mind. And I live my life over-identifying with the mind. And I got just so sick and tired of it because it burned me out, and I realized that me as a human being, I was unhappy when I lived in my mind because I was so disconnected from my heart. Right? So, Post-productivity. Living from your purpose and what you want to create and bring into this world. From your heart. Because the mind lives in fear. The mind lives in fear. It's calculating, it's rational, it's strategizing it. Why do I say it lives in fear? It lives in fear because, I need to work that 9 to 5 because if I don't, my parents will think of me this way, my friends will judge me this way. Fear. People are afraid to live in their heart because it would mean living based on faith. This is what faith is. Combining passion, post-productivity is combining passion, purpose, business, wealth, success, freedom, joy, peace, and love all into the same thing. It is becoming whole. The unity of the heart and the mind. Right? This is what it is. Integration of yin and yang, of the masculine and feminine, the heart and mind. The key to happiness is working towards your goals every single day while never doing a thing you don't want to do. And basically this is how my delusion has progressed over the years. At first I was like, I don't want to be a wage slave chained to a 9 to 5. Then I was like, I don't want to be a personal trainer chained to a gym. Then I was like, I don't want to have my time chained to money. Then I was like, I don't want to be stuck to a location. Then I was like, I don't want to be a content creator chained to a topic. Then I was like, I don't want to spend a day in my life doing what feels like work. The further out I go, the harder I make it for myself. But I'm addicted to the game of making the impossible happen. I don't know the next step, so I'm going to take it one step at a time. I'm tired of overthinking things and over-planning things, which came from over-identification with my mind. So, I'm going to be straight up. I'm going to find a way to monetize my life and never work a day. And how I currently see it is through the building of this personal brand and my social media channels, to build the trust and the authority, and then to sell an offer. I hope this was inspiring, mind expanding to you. And I want to end off by saying, it's an attitude. Everything towards how you view life is an attitude, right? I've come up with this nuanced way of viewing life, and it's not to overcomplicate things, but it's to realize what you focus your perception on is what reality will reflect back onto you, right? Earlier I said, I'm not going to work a single day in my life. It's an attitude. It is an attitude. How do you want your life to feel? How do you want to lead your life? It's an attitude. The more aligned you can live to an attitude that feels true and sets you free, that feels true to you and sets you free, that is the key to the passion, to the purpose, to the motivation, to the inspiration, to the wealth, to the joy, to the freedom, to the success, to the love, to the peace that you're looking for. This video has gone very, very long. I'm going to sign off. Thank you so much for listening. Share your thoughts in the comments below. What resonated? What did you take inspiration from? If you feel a similar way, or you think, I'm completely out of my mind, which, in fairness, I am completely out of my mind. When I finally let myself get out of my mind and into my heart, I became free. So, much love. Wishing you a blessed new year. And I will see you in the next one. Peace out.